most people starting out from a business perspective are talking about wanting to grow and be this massive corporation. They want it to be the next big company around.
I like hearing other people's ideas and like brainstorming with people, but when there's like too many chefs in the kitchen, it's like so muddied and hard to...
There's always a balance between growing the business and paying yourself a wage to live off.
Having someone shadow you and come along to shoots, see how I interact with clients, see how I interact with, models and talent, what I'm thinking about and how I'm shooting stuff definitely is the best way to learn.
Welcome to another episode of Founders in Finance, where every episode we dig deep into the insights that shape financial success in Australia, with the real conversations with business owners, investment experts, and professionals around the world. So whether you're a small business owner, an inspiring investor, or simply looking to strengthen your financial foundations, there's something here for you. I'm your host, Ross Pocock, co-founder of Sternlight Financial. And today I'm joined by Aaron Butler, the founder of Creative Cult. Mine and Aaron's careers crossed paths early on in our lives, and since then, Aaron has gone on into the creative space. Creative Cult is a leading brand on the east coast of Australia that believes in the power of photo and video to get your business messages across to your desired consumer and elevate their experiences. So let's get started. How are you today, Aaron?
I'm good, thank you, Ross.
I'm glad to hear. Obviously, we've got a bit of a storm around at the moment, which hopefully it doesn't cause too much damage there. And I want to thank you for jumping onto the podcast. Obviously, seeing what you do online is quite inspiring around the creative side. And one thing I did want to highlight and kind of see why you jumped into that space was around your iPhone photos. So I've noticed when you go to a concert, you do a lot of the photos on an iPhone, and I tell you what, I can't get photos that look that good. So tell me what made you want to highlight around the iPhone and the editing of software and things like that.
Well, that's the thing, Ross. You actually can take photos that look like that, okay? I promise you, you can. I love iPhone content because it is so simple and easy. And something that I've kind of like lived by is like the best camera that you have is the one that you've got on you. Like growing up when, I was going through uni and like after uni, you definitely get very like gear obsessed and like, wanting the next best camera, or like you're looking up to a videographer or photographer and you're seeing them on Instagram and like, oh, I want the gear that they've got. And it takes you a little while to kind of move past that and realize that like anyone can be shooting great content on anything, literally anything. And iPhones these days are just so incredibly good. And I think like, yeah, I love live music and I love events. And so, and usually when you go to a concert, you're not allowed to bring a camera in. So I love that restriction of like being forced to use my phone at a concert, because yeah, I do love concert photography and I always try and think like, yeah, how would I shoot this using an iPhone? And, the iPhone zoom is crazy. So you don't always have to have like a front row seat. You can be wherever you are in the arena or festival or something, and you can shoot really great content. And so that's why I love iPhone. It's so simple, so easy. And you can really take some amazing photos with them. It's crazy.
Yeah, I like that in terms of the best camera, the one that you have on you right now. It's we use something similar within the investing time. It's the best time to invest was yesterday. The next best time is today. Because it's often, like I say, often put back, I need this just to get started, but you don't necessarily need that now.
Yeah. People love to use that as an excuse to not start. They go, oh, I can't start just yet because I don't have this or I don't have that. And it's like, that's just an excuse. You can literally start with anything.
Yeah, definitely. And full disclaimer here, actually, the recordings I do on this are through my iPhone with our softwares all hooked up. So you can definitely get started from anywhere. Now, in saying that, I have seen you do some of your recordings, and it definitely isn't with an iPhone when you're doing it for companies and things like that. So, what made you get into the creative space and kind of build a business around that?
Yeah, I was kind of lost, I guess, at school, kind of like, coming up to grade like 10, 11, and 12, you don't really know. If you don't know like what you want to do, it can be like quite daunting because I feel like they really hammer in like you need a plan after school. And I was doing a film and TV subject at school, and I was enjoying it. I definitely wasn't good at it by no means. I was probably skating on C's and some B's, but I loved the creativity. I've always kind of been like a creative kid. A lot of like storytelling, and like my imagination would run wild with, yeah, stories and drawing and stuff, even though I wasn't that great. And so when it came to, figuring out what I wanted to do at the end of school, I thought, yeah, I'm going to do a Bachelor of Film and TV at Bond. And thankfully got into Bond and did the degree there. And again, loved it. Loved creating content pretty much every week. I loved the people that I was with, and like working with people was really something that I enjoyed. Um, but uni kind of is, especially at that time, it was very focused on short films and then moving into like feature films, getting into Hollywood and that kind of stuff, which really wasn't my passion. Again, I loved like music festivals and like electronic music and DJs and stuff like that. And so I wanted to either kind of go down that route or more like short form advertising content. I had a mentor, Mark Toyer, who's sadly passed away now, but he was a great mentor. He was a great TV commercial director, and he kind of like opened up like a different world of, like filmmaking, in that, you can create these like powerful short form content pieces for brands and businesses and earn really good money doing it as well. So that really interested me. So after uni, I did my own freelancing for a bit. I had my freelance business, Aaron Butler Films. Such a typical cliche business of just your name and what you do. Um,
Straight out of uni. What
yeah,
can I think of? Very,
exactly.
very creative, I should
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Really strong brand. And so I did that. But it wasn't that sustainable. I had a few clients here and there doing some work for them, just basic like business video, event videos. I started working in clubs and doing some content for clubs and some DJs, and that was cool. But it definitely wasn't a like very sustainable business. So I got a job offer to work full time for a PR and branding agency here on the Gold Coast, called Spin and Co. And that was a really good time because it was a very small company at the time, and they were working with a lot of different clients. They were working with restaurants, shopping centers, influencers, beauty brands, heaps of different niches that I'd kind of never really done before. And so it was really good to like uh, get get experience shooting a whole bunch of different content. And I was there for nearly 6 years. And had like loved every minute of it. I got to do some crazy things. I went to Dubai and London with them. I shot with mega celebrities and influencers and stuff. It was really cool. It was a really really cool job. But as kind of like their business grew, the job focus kind of changed into something that I didn't really want to do anymore. And so I started my own agency with my business partner Brock, and Creative Cult was born. And it's interesting that the job kind of, or the scope of our agency definitely changed from when we originally pitched it, which was in the early days of Creative Cult, it was going to be a agency where no matter what your business or your budget, you could come to Creative Cult and we would find you like photographer or videographer in whatever price range and niche that you are, and like give you something. And then what I slowly realized is that there is a lot of videographers and photographers that A, suck, B, are terrible at communication and like don't show up or just like will just ghost you. And the other one is just they don't seem to nail it. They can't nail a brief every single time. And that we started doing it, and it started becoming like a bit of a headache. We'd send a videographer to a client, and the microphone wasn't on, and we got the footage back, and there was no audio, and it's like, man, come on, like this was so key, and we just have no audio, and then we have to deal with the client who's angry, which like sucks. It really sucks, and so
And that
now we've
also
kind of
affects your brand in that sense. Like you
exactly,
are the
exactly,
one
yeah.
promoting these people, and
Exactly. It's our
yeah,
name on the line. It's our brand and reputation on the line when we send these people there. And if they don't do a good job, then it ultimately screws us over.
yeah,
So we have now like kind of, yeah, transformed into more of like a bit of a boutique creative agency where it's very like small. It's just me, Brock, and we have an editor, Liam. We want to expand, but not too large. I could only like maybe foresee in the next few years, like I'd only want to grow to, definitely less than 10 people
yeah.
total. But it's more, yeah, more of a hands-on approach. I'm more involved. I do a lot of the shooting and editing myself. And then, yeah, we'd love to get like a couple of shooters on board. We do have like a few freelance shooters that we use who are reliable that we can send off to other jobs. But yeah, it's definitely, we're more boutique and we're more hands-on with the clients that we work with. And that delivers like a better result anyway. So it was definitely the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes complete sense. You got great control over what's happening. You've got that quality assurance and things like that. Now, it's quite interesting to say there, like you do want to grow, but kind of keeping it under that and 10 people within the business. Now, most people starting our business, and obviously this is a business and finance podcast, so most people starting out from a business perspective are talking about wanting to grow and be this massive corporation. They wanted to be the next a big company around. What makes you want to keep it small, intimate, as opposed to expanded out, which probably sounds a bit like your previous company you worked for? They've expanded to a certain level. What makes you want to keep it more intimate and slow and small? Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely number one is I've heard a lot of horror stories of companies that get too big and dealing with employees and like dealing with like an office culture that is like it's so far expanded to what you can like maintain. There's like HR, there's office cliques. Like I've seen it all through like all the jobs. Like I saw it when I worked at McDonald's. I saw it at Big W when we were working at Big W. I saw it, at Spinnaker. All these different businesses, they all have like issues when it comes to like growing and expanding into a bigger team. And I just don't want to worry about that. I would
Yep, you're
rather
focused on the creative side of
yeah,
things,
I would
makes sense.
much rather spend more time working on creative and clients than dealing with that kind of stuff. So that is definitely one thing. And yeah, I just think it's so much easier and it's more finesse when you're working with like a group of people that you know and trust, and it's a small group. There's no like I like hearing other people's ideas and like brainstorming with people, but when there's like too many chefs in the kitchen, it's like so muddied and hard to get anything done or get to some place where everyone agrees and everyone's happy. And that's, I think, a difficult thing. And we work with a lot of clients who are like big companies and big corporations. And like I see it when, we're getting revisions through videos. It's like, yeah, this department said this and that department said this. And there's like a whole like laundry list of revisions because there's so many people giving their feedback, which is like
Yeah.
fine. That's the nature of the job. But like, I don't want to have to worry about that. I would rather have a more controlled approach to that.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes complete sense. As you say, once you get to a certain scale, it's you can't please everyone, just in life
Mm.
in general, let alone within a business. And I'm sure within that creative environment, you want everyone to have their own creative nature. But if there conflicts in that, only delays time, that delays work going out and things.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, coming from your background of working through at other companies, what what probably surprised you the most about running your own business and getting started on your own business?
I definitely didn't have an idea of everything that makes a business run, and something that I wasn't doing when I was like had my freelance business straight out of uni. Nothing like advertising. Very rarely doing any accounting. Very rarely doing any like stock take of everything else other than like the product that I'm delivering to a client. So that is definitely one thing. And then another thing I think that I started to learn at Spin and Co, which was great, was just dealing with like relationships and dealing with people and talking with clients and talking to other people in my network. It's definitely something that is, a huge part of business is communication and relationships. And so having that experience now is like phenomenal, but definitely something that I wasn't talking to other like suppliers or something at McDonald's. I wasn't talking to like heaps of managers at Big W or anything. I was just like my own self, just like focusing on the job. So
Yeah.
expanding that and doing that is definitely like such a big thing.
No, look, it you're spot on there, and coming from a previous role within finance, and I didn't realize how much the owners there had built that in the past. We were kind of given a lot of that work, especially when I first got in there, a lot of the admin stuff. We were given that work, and it wasn't until I started delving into the realm of going out on my own that you realize how important some of those relationships are, even in just like leaning on someone, an accountant that you can quickly give a call to ask a tax question or a lawyer.
Yeah.
And without having those relationships, it actually affects your ability to provide the best work and the best advice out there. So the networking is a key factor in that. So you're spot on there. As much as I remember going networking events at university, and you hated them when you're at uni because you were such a small fish that no one even wanted to know who you were.
Yeah, and you felt like you had nothing to offer. You're like, I'm still learning all this, so like I don't know what you want me to talk about because I've got nothing to talk about. But
Yeah,
now
please,
I've got plenty to talk about, so I love it.
yeah, please tell me everything, and I'm just going
Yeah.
to sit here quietly.
Yeah, I just want to listen.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. So, and did you have any major setbacks when you started the company, like early on? Was there any major setbacks? I know a lot of businesses kind of go through those early day headaches.
I would say the setback was the direction that we were going.
Yeah,
And we just like, yeah, we just had to pivot because it just wasn't sustainable. And I mean, in an alternate universe, we probably would have just like packed up the business and we're like, oh no, it's too hard. I'll just go back to full time, whatever.
yeah,
But like obviously I believed in like my skill and what I could provide and knew that it was worth backing. So I'm glad that we like pivoted that way instead.
yeah, definitely. It's quite an interesting concept, as you say. You come to me with a price, we'll find you a package that suits that in those early models. Like
Mm.
I can imagine it sounds it there would be a very niche market for that, but on the flip side, um, so how often would you get people coming to you with a small budget that wants a huge price production type thing? So I could,
You see it a lot in like the community like photographer videographer pages like a small business will like post a thing and be like I need some photos and a video for my new bikini brand, and
yeah,
there would be 20 to 30 people commenting on that going I'm interested, I'm available, and
yeah,
that budget is like $200, and
yeah,
there's so many people who are willing to do it. So I was seeing that and going, oh, like if I can just like add a cut on top and just like give these people anyway, like these people are already hungry and ready to do it. Why don't I just like put like a 20 to
you were
30%?
finding the work
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
But and again, those, the clients that have $200 budget is you end up doing, $2,000 worth of communication back and forth and planning because the budget is so low. Whereas the
yeah.
people with the bigger budgets like generally know what they want. They have a brief, they can give it to you. You can nail it. They're happy, done.
Yeah, it's a lot more simple transaction. They don't want a mess around and things like that now. Obviously, we do have a finance aspect of this, given my background in financial planning here. So one question I often like to ask small business owners here is where obviously you've got start members now, there's always a balance between growing the business and paying yourself a wage to live off, or paying yourself that bonus to go on holiday as opposed to reinvesting it or doing that. So, what kind of do you have an example of a critical moment? What made you decide to spend that money on a staff member rather than back in your own pockets in that sense to help that business grow? Like, you have a moment that kind of clicked for you in that?
I again, it's yeah. I knew that I wanted to grow the
Yep.
business, and I can't. Unfortunately, I can't do everything, and that's like a painful realization, especially for someone like me who is one, a creative, and two, like a perfectionist who can look at a video for 3 weeks and still never be happy with it, and I don't want to post it because it's not ready. So if you know, I've got to end up like giving that creative control to someone else to then like be able to do more with my time. So it was just like it's just an obvious thing to like grow. Just like, okay, cool. I've got an editor, and the process that I think I went through was, would I rather have someone else shoot a video and then give the footage to me and I edit it? Well, not really, because again, going back to the unreliable shooters, they might mess it up. There's no audio on a clip or something like that, and then it's
You
like up
can't
to me.
re-record, that you can
It's
re-edit.
yeah, it's well, it's up to it'd be up to me to it'd be up to me to like salvage a shit video basically.
Yeah.
Whereas if I can shoot something, I know what I got and I know that there's something there, so then I can give that to our editor and be like, cool, make something good with this. And worst case scenario, if I'm not happy with whatever they've done after however many tries, I know that I can then go in and tweak some stuff and do things like, oh yeah, I know I got this shot, let's move it like that. So that was my thinking, is an editor is a great place to start, and someone that I can train up to get to my level, so that then yeah, I can go and shoot something, give it to them. They know me, they know my shooting style, they know what I want. Bingo, done. And that's already
Yeah.
started to happen, which is great, where we've um, we've done some work for clients who think that I'm editing it, and I'm not. I'm giving it to Liam, and Liam's sending the video, and they're like, "Great, thanks, great edit, Aaron." And I'm like, "Cool, thanks. I'm glad that you think that I did it, because that means he's doing a great job."
Yeah, no, definitely. I've been reading a lot, and I'm not sure if you've taken any inspiration from this, but I've been reading a lot lately about um, business owners, CEOs that start having someone mirror them. So they basically have them following around an awful lot over an extended period of time. So then they can almost step in as your replacement. So you can then
Mm,
go on to different areas, or I use this as an example now. Is I've got my assistant. He sits in all my meetings and stuff. Now he's an inspiring advisor. He wants to be, so we're kind of putting him through a 2 year apprenticeship in a sense, where he
mm,
sits in meetings, learns to have the conversations. What that's allowing us to do here is focus on what's important to clients. It allowed us to focus on communication, us talking directly to the client rather than me doing admin in the back end. He can do that. So
mm,
we can focus on the most important stuff, which is relationships, making sure clients are happy, making sure everyone is on the same page. So,
mm.
like you say, if your edit is getting up to the standards that they don't even recognize it's C's work and it's your work,
Yeah.
it's got to be good. And you have a time frame of when you want to put on that next person from there.
Probably towards the end of the year, I would love to bring on another shooter. And I think something that I've realized, again, as you said just then, like having someone shadow you and come along to, like, for me, for instance, like come along to shoots, see how I interact with clients, see how I interact with models and talent, see what I'm thinking about and how I'm shooting stuff. Definitely is the best way to learn. I found training someone is much easier, even though it seems like it's harder and it takes more work. It probably does. But if you were to compare that to bringing someone who's already like established and has an ego and has a preconception of who they are and what they're about, it's harder to break down that person with the ego and train them how you want them to be, especially when you're like bringing them into your business, your brand, your company. It's hard for them to care about it as much as you do. But I think if you can train someone who is of a little less like skill level and maybe like, fresh out of uni or like fresh out of school or something like that, and who has that aspiration, they may not be with you forever, but training them and having them shadow you and bring them up to your level gives you a far better outcome. I feel
No,
they're an easier mold to get to where you want them to.
I can agree more that, like we say, it's about molding how you want it. If they go on to do other things, even if they go on to build a business in their own environment, it's exciting as well because you get to see them go through that path as well. You did it, someone helped you to pass that on. Always great. Now, in terms of in your environment, how has kind of the influencer world changed that creative culture within your environment? Is it a lot more to do with short, snappy stuff, or do you still do a lot of long form recording? How would you say that's changed?
I would say like 100% the short form content is king right now. There'll be people who disagree or whatever, but I think that yeah, something like Instagram Reels and TikTok, that bite sized content is really the thing at the moment, and probably will be for at least the next 5 years. Long form definitely has a place and has a reason for being there. It's great to connect, like really connect with your audience, and build like a stronger fan base, build brand, that kind of stuff. But I think, especially business is a lot about growth and getting eyeballs on your content, getting eyeballs on your brand, your product, whatever it is. And that is living on social media right now. And it is in the form of, short vertical videos currently. And I think a lot of videographers hated the switch to to short form vertical content, which is understandable because we all grew up shooting horizontally and wanting to make 10-minute YouTube videos. Uh, Personally, I fucking love it. I love only having to make a 15 to 30 second video for a client. Like honestly, that is so good. That is so much better than making a 2 to 3 minute video that'll live on their website. I'm making 15 to 20-second videos for Reels, and the output volume is much higher. And I also think that with there's definitely like been a big push of like lo-fi content and like not so much polished content. People are making videos on their phones. People don't want things to look super polished. And again, I mean that's the trend, and that's what's working right now. And honestly, I'm thankful because that makes my job so much easier. I'm
Yeah.
still ideating and I'm still executing a vision, but the trend right now is low effort, short form content, which is great.
Well, it's got to be relatable, and if it's too overproduced, like um, it it doesn't get that same reach. I always compare what you see now online with like you got your Super Bowl ads, which are millions of dollars spent on
Mm,
these, and then you've got a short form video, and sometimes the story on the short form, done by an iPhone, is far better the storytelling than
yeah.
an app that's had millions of dollars spent on
And
it.
that's
It's
what
just
that's
it
what it is.
doesn't.
It's storytelling. There's a brand in America called Poppy, and the brand absolutely blew up all because of one video. And the one video was the founder talking to her iPhone using like the green screen TikTok effect, had like photos of her brand behind her, and she just spoke about the story of how she made the brand Poppy. And the brand completely blew up. It went mega viral, and like that, like instantly launched her business into success. And it's like it's all because of that story.
Again, it's about connection. Like every business, about connection. You've got a connection to people. Um, if people wanted to, in any industry, buy off strangers, they just go online and buy it. If you're trying to build a, a network, a community around you, it's about connection. So,
Yeah.
um, now, one final question for you, and if what advice would you give to other people looking to get into starting their own business, achieve financial stability within their business as well?
A couple things. The first one is, especially if you're like looking to start, get rid of all of the excuses that you have right now. Because like going back to what I said at the start, best camera is the one you got on you. So if you need to create content for your business to get it up and running, you have a phone, you have something in your disposal that you can use to create content right now. There's no question about it. So cut the excuses. And then secondly, I would say, again, content is absolutely king right now. No one knows you exist unless you are posting on socials and you're putting yourself out there through content. Um, I I saw a great quote the other day, and it was, there's two different artists. There's an artist who posts every day for 365 days a year. And there's another artist who is better artist than artist one, but they only post when they feel like it. Who would you bet your life on that will be a successful artist? Is it the one who shows up every day and posts, or is it the one that just like does it when they feel like it? Obviously, it's the one who posts every single day. And that is the biggest key, is just post every single day, post every single week, post every single month, whatever it is that you aren't doing now, and just like up that content, because that is how you reach new eyeballs. That's how you build your business. That's how you get people to know who you are. And again, it's like, don't worry about the excuses of like, oh, it doesn't look good, or I'm not too happy with that. Just post it. No one's going to
Yeah,
remember it in 6 weeks unless it goes viral. If it goes viral, perfect. So just keep
it's even
keep
better.
going, keep
Yeah.
going. Just ignore all the excuses and just do it. Honestly,
Mate, you talk about that posting every day. When you talk about that comedian Andrew Schultz comes to mind in that aspect. So before he's now selling at arenas in all around the world, did world tours and stuff. But prior to that, he before he was no one, he every single day he posted one of his shows clips on social media. And it took about 18 months before he could start doing a world tour. And that was just every single day he posted a 1 minute clip of a part of one of these shows he'd done in these small club that are for 10 people in front of him.
mm.
And over that he's grown. So well, all I can say is, look, you've inspired me, because I do have to admit my social media presence is there, but it's not as big. So the one a day
Mate,
I
you're
like.
telling me I struggle with it as well. I'm the biggest preacher, and I also struggle with it. So I get it. I get how hard it is. It's easy to say and definitely much tougher to do. So I feel you.
Well, what do they say? Do as I say, not as I do. So, well, we come to the final part where we give our listeners and ourselves a chance to plug a bit about what's going on. So I'll give you an example right now. Given what you've spoken about content, I'm going to plug my own Instagram financial planning. So Ross Pocock, financial advisor. Once this is released, this podcast, you might see if I've kept up with actually doing the post like I say I will. So see the content there. So what you want to plug and for yourself there, Aaron?
Cool. Yeah, two things. Just my Instagram. So my personal is at Aaron Butler _. I'm really trying to focus on my personal brand this year, and think, again, personal brands is a huge thing, but that's another podcast. And then obviously Creative Cult is Creative Cult AU. That is where you can go and find us. And if you want to work with us, or let us create some content for you, we'd love to have a chat.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Aaron. It's been great chatting with you. And yeah, thank you for taking the time. I hope it all goes well with the song. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how Creative Cult and your own personal brand build over time.
Thank you. I'll see you on the other side.